My dad works in B2B marketing. He came by my school for career day and said he was a big ROAS man. Then he told everyone how much he loved calculating his return on ad spend. My friends still laugh at me to this day.
Not everyone gets B2B, but with LinkedIn, you'll be able to reach people who do. Get a $100 credit on your next ad campaign. Go to linkedin.com/results to claim your credit. That's linkedin.com/results. Terms and conditions apply. LinkedIn, the place to be, to be.
We acknowledge the traditional owners of country throughout Australia and recognise their continuing connection to land, waters and culture. We pay our respects to their elders past, present and emerging. Welcome to This Song Is Yours, a music podcast where we chat to a new guest each week, talk about their life and creative endeavours, and talk to them about some of the music they love. Our show works by chatting to our guests about music, but also getting them to make you a playlist of the songs they love. You can find the link to our playlist in the show notes. Welcome to episode 39. I'm your host, Simon Fink. Our guest today is Heather Baron-Gracie, frontwoman for indie rock band Pale Waves. The UK band released their second studio record, Who Am I?, back in February, and the record has been receiving rave reviews since. In today's episode, Heather and I talk about being authentic in songwriting, the importance of LGBTQI role models, and how much Avril Lavigne affected the record. Here we go. Our guest today is the frontwoman for one of the most popular bands in the UK right now, Pale Waves. They've toured with acts like the 1975, Churches and Halsey. They released their second record, Who Am I?, in February, and the record continues to receive rave reviews. Please welcome to This Song Is Yours from the band Pale Waves, Heather Baron-Gracie. Hello.
Hello. Good to see you.
Lovely to see you too. Where are you actually, to begin with?
I'm actually in America right now. I'm in St. Louis, out of all places. I'm going to LA in a few days though. I've just been recording in Nashville, which was really cool because I've never been I've been there a few times, but never to create music. So that was awesome because I love country music. So I felt like a cowgirl for a tiny minute.
Did you, it is a beautiful little city. Did you go to the Johnny Cash Museum or the Patsy Cline Museum?
No, I didn't because I had sessions fully booked out for every day. So the only day I could do anything was actually on the Saturday, and everything was just so packed. And with COVID and stuff, I didn't really feel super comfortable going in just yet because I'm not vaccinated right now. I will be, but not right now. I'm trying to be safe.
Right, that's a good choice. This was for the Apple Music home sessions, is that right?
Yeah, that's correct. Yeah, it was so cool. And I did some writing sessions when I was there.
What was it like stripping down the songs from the album and kind of playing them in a bit more of a home session kind of vibe?
It was really cool. A lot of the times I always prefer acoustic versions of songs just because you can fully hear the song for what it is and there's nothing really getting in the way. Maybe because I'm a songwriter and I'm being biased. You know, a drummer will probably hate me saying this, but I tend to always love when you can hear just, you know, the vocal and a guitar, or like a vocal, a guitar and a piano or something. So I really enjoyed it, and it was nice to hear the songs in that way, because obviously I've only heard them in the way that, you know, everyone's heard them. So yeah, I really loved it.
Yeah, I think when you can strip something down to just those core instruments and a vocal, it really does show like the strength of the songwriting from yourself or from other bands.
Yeah, exactly. It was really cool.
Now, congratulations on the second record, Who Am I? It is out now. It has been out since February. I imagine it is, after being recorded at the start of the pandemic, it's quite exciting to finally have it out now.
Yeah, it's very cool. It was a long time coming. I feel like I've lived with this album for so long. But even before the pandemic, I had pretty much all of the album wrote before the pandemic. So it's been existing within my life for a long time. So it was really satisfying to give it to the world and not feel like the only one that was kind of like constantly listening to it. So I'm glad that I can give it away and I'm kind of ready to move on to the next thing now.
This record, to my understanding, was written in a very different way from the first record. I believe that you and please tell me if I'm pronouncing their name wrong, Kira.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, beautiful.
Yeah,
cool,
Kira.
Lovely. I know that the spelling might throw some people, and so I wanted to double check. I know that you and they used to write the album together, but this time it was just you yourself. What was the change that was brought upon?
I think that it happened that way because me and Kira had tried to write the second album for a long time, and we were just on tour constantly, and we were just kind of exhausted within ourselves, not just as like artists, but as people. And we sort of like discussed it and thought it'd be a good idea to sort of, just go off and just create and see what happens. And Kira started to produce all these other artists, and that was amazing for them. And they're really honing in on their craft and sort of making a name for themselves as a producer, which is awesome. And Kira's incredibly talented. So, and then I went off and sort of just wrote some songs I wrote most of the album with a New Zealand producer called Sam De Jong. We really got on like really well. And the album just sort of like came to life within a few months, and it was there and it was done. And Kira was there for a few sessions and helped me out on the last track, Who Am I? So it wasn't like I did it completely alone. It was just more so it wasn't 50-50.
Yeah, no, that's very fair. I believe as well that as the band was recording the record, that it kind of flipped halfway through. You've got the recording in LA, and then the pandemic kind of happened and you guys had to record it remotely. What was, I guess, the experience like of doing the record in like a half and half kind of fashion?
To be honest, I don't think I would ever do that again. The half and half fashion thing, like splitting it up, having a break in the middle, for me, didn't really work. I sort of want to go into something and be totally consumed with it and like stay in that environment. And I mean, the tour was great, what we did in Europe, but I don't think I would do that again. I think I would, this third time round, when I go around into recording again, I just want to be totally consumed by it. I don't want any distractions or anything to come in between of it. I just want to, dive into that world and create. So for me, it didn't really work, but the remote thing, the pandemic, that was really interesting because the second time round, it was mainly me and the producer that went into studio and recorded stuff. And Charlie, our bass player, actually was recording his bass parts from his home in Stoke-on-Trent in the UK, in Northern England, because half of the band decided that they didn't want to get locked down in LA. They wanted to be around their friends and family because it was a really scary time. No one knew what was going to happen. So they wanted to fly home. So they did. But I think it was just really cool how we made it work. Technology is so amazing these days that he was able to record parts, across the Atlantic and then send them over, and they're the parts on the actual record. So I'm glad that everyone was able to play on it.
Yeah, of course. The record is incredible, and it does mark a bit of a shift from your debut record, where that one was a little bit more ethereal and synthy, whereas this has a bit more of a 90s grunge, almost like 2000s guitar pop kind of sound to it. What was the shift? Was it what you were listening to at the time, or what was the change? What brought upon that change? Sorry.
I think it was because I sort of had a bit more of a creative freedom. Going back to what we were talking about before, I sort of went off and just started to create what I wanted to. I didn't really think, does this suit Pale Waves? Or I didn't really have to like consider another artistic vision. So I love 90s/2000s alternative music. That's always been my favorite like genre, that alongside of country music. So that was my go-to, and that's just what I love to write. And when I sort of just got in a room, that's what came out. I love guitars. I'm a guitar player. Kira is definitely more influenced, well, loves like 80s music more than I do. So, and they basically, you know, produced the first album. So, well, Kira wrote all the music. So, yeah, it was just sort of having creative freedom and just sort of doing what I wanted to do.
I know that there's been a lot of comparisons. I know it's been in the media a lot with yourself and the album, is that there is like almost an homage or a bit of love for Avril Lavigne and the record and some of the songs. For you, what, because I am a child of the late 90s, early 2000s, like loved Avril Lavigne. For you, what is it about Avril that kind of, that you love?
Well, when I was growing up, I was a tomboy. I wasn't a girly girl. I didn't want to play with dolls. I didn't want to wear pink. I wanted to go outside and ride my bike and ride my skateboard and, you know, hang out with my brother. And so I didn't really see a lot of, especially in the media, I didn't really see a lot of pop stars or like strong female faces that weren't sort of, you know, dressed like the norm in a mini skirt or in a pink top or whatever. So it kind of made me feel like I was like wrong or like different in the bad way for the way I felt or the way I wanted to dress or the way I wanted to be. And then when I saw Avril Lavigne on MTV with Skater Boy, I instantly felt so much more comfortable in myself and so much more confident. So I think it was just her not her uniqueness, but just like her being herself. And that's what I really connected with. And I hope that our band can do that for our fans too.
Pale Waves, I feel, are very recognised for how, I guess, true to yourselves you are, if that makes sense. I might not have said that in the right way, but that... Yeah,
I like it. People are going to see through you if you're being fake or if you're trying to be anyone else. And we embrace who we are and we don't shy away from it. So, and that's all you can do. Accept yourself for who you truly are and embrace it.
Definitely. It does come across in your songwriting as well that you guys are quite, that there's a lot of conviction in what you're singing and what you're saying. And that, I guess, for you, how important is it to be honest and not necessarily in someone's face, but upfront about what you're feeling or what you're thinking?
It's very important to me. And I feel like as a person, that's who I am in general. I'm very much, I'll give the point straight to you. I don't really care for, you know, tiptoeing around. I just want it straight up, like, give it to me. That probably comes from my Scottish dad. The Scots can be, you know, pretty upfront, pretty true to who they are, and I love that about the Scottish culture. They're very, they're very proud, and they will have you back always, but they'll tell you how it is. And I think that's where I kind of got it from. Just sort of give it to them straight up, and I feel like I'm going to continue doing that throughout my songwriting. When I wrote the first record, I was pretty shy and was pretty nervous about being an artist, because as an artist, you have to be vulnerable. You have to be open. You have to give away yourself to the world for anyone to sort of analyze and judge. And so that really frightened me at first, but then...
At BlueNile.com, you can find endless ways to make your moments sparkle. From classic and timeless jewelry gifts to creating the custom engagement ring of her dreams, all at prices you won't find at a traditional jeweler. And right now, you can save up to 40% on fine jewelry and 25% on engagement ring settings during the Blue Nile Anniversary Sale, going on now. Go to BlueNile.com to shop the Blue Nile Anniversary Sale and save up to 40%. That's BlueNile.com.
My dad works in B2B marketing. He came by my school for career day and said he was a big ROAS man. Then he told everyone how much he loved calculating his return on ad spend. My friends still laugh at me to this day.
Not everyone gets B2B, but with LinkedIn, you'll be able to reach people who do. Get a $100 credit on your next ad campaign. Go to linkedin.com/results to claim your credit. That's linkedin.com/results. Terms and conditions apply. LinkedIn, the place to be, to be.
It is what it is. People are going to, hate you, and people are going to love you. And you just sort of have to deal with that, not everyone's going to love you, and that's okay, because it's just who you are, and that's being an artist. So I like to be as honest as I possibly can be.
No, that's very fair. I think even the some of the songs from that first album, from what I read, and please correct me if I'm wrong, is that there was a point where you weren't using pronouns to make the songs more general in their delivery, but then for that second record thought, and pardon my language, but fuck it, let's do it, let's use like proper pronouns and have put more of yourself to the front as well. In terms of I guess being a role model for someone, and whether it be as you mentioned before, like a young girl or boy who doesn't quite see themselves on MTV, or for someone in the LGBTQI community, do you think it is important that people are more in terms of, it's good to have a mass appeal and be general in that sense, but it's also, do you think
it's important to sort of I think it's really important, because sexuality is a really confusing thing, and as a young person sort of growing up, I feel like when you're in your teenager sort of like scale of life, everything is so much more dramatic, and everything's so much more, confusing, and you're sort of working out who you are. You're a young adult, and it is a really scary time. And I think that's when a lot of people sort of figure out their sexuality, or they start to like explore it and embrace it. And it's really important for them to be able to see other people that aren't the norm, that aren't straight, sort of speaking out about it and normalizing it and presenting healthy representations, because that makes them feel so much more comfortable within themselves, and they understand that it is normal, to have a different sexuality to the person next to you or whatever. It is normal. And if you can, and if you do have a platform, then I think it's really important that you speak up about it, and because you help other people and you make them feel a lot more comfortable about themselves. So, and you give them confidence, and that's what I love, and that's what our band Pale Waves really stand for.
Yeah, definitely. Did you find when writing She's My Religion to be almost in terms of what you were just saying, to be like a almost cathartic kind of experience in like being able to address it just straight to the point, using that Scottishness, if you will?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, She's My Religion. You couldn't get any more straight to the point than that. Yeah, I loved it, and I was really excited for everyone to hear it, because I think it is so on the nose, and the fans have really engaged with that song more than any song on the record, because they feel like they have a healthy representation, and they feel like we create a safe space for them where they can come to our shows and they feel like they can be who they truly are. They won't be judged. And they're in a, if you come to a Pale Wave show, you're in a room full of people that sort of feel the same way as you. That's the sort of people that we attract our band. And I love that. And I'm glad that we have songs like She's My Religion and You Don't Own Me, songs that have bold statements and messages that society needs to hear.
The You Don't Own Me video, you co-directed with your partner Kelsey. What was that experience like in terms of being behind the camera and doing something that wasn't just the front guitarist woman front for a band?
I loved it. For most of our music videos, I am very involved, but never like co-directed. So yeah, I really did love it a lot. I didn't really enjoy the prep work as much. So Kelsey did handle the vast majority of that, because I'm more so like, let's talk about the idea and get it done, where I don't really enjoy like the endless Zoom calls talking about like lighting setup and whatever. So I'm glad that, Kelsey, I mean, she did most of the work, to be honest, but I really enjoyed it. I thought it was really cool. And what I like the most is that my vision didn't get diluted, or it didn't get adapted or changed because I wasn't involving a director that, and don't get me wrong, I love collaborating. I think it's amazing and awesome. But sometimes the vision does naturally get changed because it's another person being involved. And then that comes, with their taste and their direction. So with You Don't Owe Me, it came out exactly how we envisioned it to come out. And I think we're going to continue to direct a lot of the other music videos, because I felt like it was the strongest image that I felt like throughout the whole campaign. But maybe I'm just being biased.
No, I feel like it does. The song is like an empowerment, like empowered kind of tune, and it does, the video, I feel like hits the nail on the head. With the song itself, I do believe that it is about being a woman in the music industry, or just in the world in general?
Just in general, and obviously my experiences as a whole, and I've experienced a lot of sexism throughout the music industry because it is really dominated by men. But it's getting a bit better. We're getting there slightly, but yeah, it's just about being a woman in general.
Yeah, the song does. I guess have you had any feedback from that song, whether it be good or bad, in terms of people and coming up to you and saying that it helped them through something, or hopefully not on the other end of the scale?
I've had so many women come up to me, and just even men too, though. They're like, thank you for creating this song, because it's really opened my eyes to, how to be in society or how to treat women better. So, and for women, they're like, wow, this song really empowers me, and I feel amazing when I listen to the song, and I feel proud to be a woman, and I feel, all this inside of me. So I think it has really impacted a lot of people, and that's what I intended it to do. I wanted to sort of, strike up conversation about it, and I feel like it has done that. It's very in your face too, very on the nose.
I think sometimes if you want to start a dialogue, you can't beat around the bush. You do have to kind of be on the nose.
Yeah.
Yeah. Heather, would you be happy to talk about some of the songs from your playlist?
Oh, yeah, of course. So the first one that I'm going to pick is 15, but Taylor's version.
Okay.
She recently released, her old sort of re-recorded Taylor version, and it's a song that I'm sort of constantly listening to. It soundtracked many years of my life. Taylor Swift's been pretty consistent throughout my life, just as like a pop queen, and sort of her songwriting throughout the years has just, it's never disappointed. It's just grown, and it's beautiful to see that. And I think she's a genius, and you can always rely on Taylor Swift to pinpoint exactly how you feel.
She does seem to kind of have a weird magic where she can do stuff like 1989 and it hits, but then Folklore hits just as hard as well. But
exactly. It's such a drastic change, but it's always amazing and outstanding. She's very consistent.
She is.
She never lets you down. And then another song that I'm going to pick is Liz Phair, Why Can't I? I think I literally read her autobiography a few months ago. She's a really empowering woman because throughout the music industry in her career, she really struggled with people and like men in general sort of labeling her as like a whore because she spoke out about like sex and what it's like, sort of, you know, all these like explicit conversations throughout her music. And so she really struggled with that, but I think that's really inspiring that she didn't like let those people define her, and she was like, no, women can enjoy sex too, that's completely normal, let's normalize this. So I know she got a lot of backlash for that, but I really admire her for sort of sticking to her guns and just being, you know, just not listening to anyone and not caring and just being a truthful artist. And I love her as an artist, and I wish that I can see her in concert one day, but I know she's really shy of performing, so I'm not sure if she's doing tour anytime soon.
I think she announced a new album earlier this week, so hopefully.
Yeah, hopefully.
If you're still...
That would be amazing.
Hopefully she'll do some shows. Why Can't I actually, just as a very quick side note, was when listening to the new Power Waves album, there was actually kind of a vibe of Liz Phair, Why Can't I? I can see that there's, I don't know if that makes sense, but it does.
A lot of the guitars were like really influenced by Liz Phair. There's sort of like dry, slightly distorted, picky electric parts. A lot of the melodies too. I was constantly, you know, listening to her when I was writing the second album. So her and Taylor play a great part in influencing me.
That would be a trio I think a lot of people would pay to see.
That would
Yourself,
be so
Liz,
good.
and Taylor.
I hope.
Was there any other tracks that you wanted to talk about today?
Let me have a look. I'm going to have to say a track by Avril Lavigne because, as we spoke about previously, we all know how much influence she's had on my life and my career. I'm going to go with Skater Boy because, like I said, that was the first time I ever saw Avril Lavigne on the TV, on MTV, with her side cap and her green shirt and the baggy pants, and immediately I thought she was the coolest person ever. And I mean, she's still an absolute icon. It would be amazing to do a song with her, but they say you should never meet your heroes, so I'm scared to meet her. Maybe I'll just avoid it for that reason.
I feel like in 2021, when things go out onto the internet, they sometimes have a way of like reaching them. If you got word that she wanted to do some form of collaboration, do you think that you'd agree with it, or do you think it is a thing of don't meet your heroes?
I mean, I'd have to, wouldn't I? I couldn't say no. Yeah, I would have to, just for, you know, the childhood version of me. You know, kid Heather, I would just have to do it for that reason.
What song do you think she lets you pick the duet? If it's not Skater Boy, what would you pick?
Oh my God. Maybe I'm With You. Such
classic.
An amazing ballad. So good. I would have to do that. I mean, vocally it's so demanding and super impressive. So it might take me a minute, but yeah, that would be so cool to do that.
That would be incredible. I think, yeah, that would, well, again, fingers crossed, hopefully we'll somehow get this to her and then see what happens.
Amazing.
Heather, thank you very much for your time today. I do appreciate it, and all the best with the second record.
No problem. Thank you. Thank you for having me.
And that's our show. A massive thank you to Heather Baron-Gracie for her time. The new Power Waves record, Who Am I, is out now. We've left links in the show notes if you'd like to buy the record or stream it on Spotify. We also want to give a huge shout out to Rachel at Dirty Hit for helping out with today's interview. You can find a link to our Spotify playlist in the show notes, where you'll be able to listen to all of our guests' picks. If you like this show, please subscribe wherever you get your pods and stay up to date when new episodes are released. We release new shows each Thursday and Friday morning, with guest playlists streaming on Spotify at the same time. You can follow the playlist profile on Spotify. You can follow us on Instagram, Facebook, and TikTok. Until next week, cheers.
Never sleep hot again with Bowl and Branch's best-selling naturally cooling sheets. They feel super crisp and cool to the touch and are expertly designed for enhanced breathability so you don't overheat at night. Start getting your best night's sleep this summer with cooling sheets made with the highest quality materials. Try Bowl and Branch with a 30-night worry-free guarantee. Plus, get 15% off and free shipping on your first set of sheets at bowlandbranch.com with code BUTTERY. Exclusions apply. See site for details.